Fellow shareholders, it is a great pleasure to report on what has been an extraordinary year for Liontown. In January, we started mining and stockpiling ore at Kathleen Valley, and major work started on the process plant. We are now more than 60% through construction. All major contracts have been awarded and almost 100% of project capital costs committed. We are on schedule for first production from Kathleen Valley mid-2024. This year has seen no shortage of reminders as to the quality of Kathleen Valley and its strategic value as one of the world's highest quality hard rock lithium deposits in one of the most politically stable and mining-friendly jurisdictions. Our recent reminder was securing a landmark debt package. The debt package included commitments from the Big Four Australian commercial banks, 2 well-known international banks and 2 government agencies, the Export Finance Australia and the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. This demonstration of support from commercial and government financial institutions further validates our project. At the same time as completing the debt package, we completed a $365 million placement to Australian and international institutions. We are now fully funded with enough headroom to take us through to first production and well beyond. In March this year, we revealed that Albemarle Corporation had approached us 3 times with non-binding conditional takeover proposals. First offering $2.20, then $2.35, and then $2.50. Having attracted the interest of the world's largest lithium producers, your board determined that the offers undervalued Liontown and therefore were not in the best interest of shareholders. However, in September, Albemarle tabled a 4th non-binding conditional proposal of $3 a share. After careful consideration, your board agreed to grant Albemarle the opportunity to conduct due diligence to enable it to progress a binding proposal. We had every intention of endorsing the binding proposal once it was presented. We were prepared to work with Albemarle to secure shareholder approval for the proposed scheme of arrangement. At $3 a share, it was well above the previous offers. It represented 97% premium to Liontown's share price prior to the disclosure date of their earlier offers in March. During the due diligence period, Hancock Prospecting emerged with 19.9% of Liontown through strong on-market buying. This is a stake that had the potential to block the proposed scheme. At the end of the due diligence period, Albemarle withdrew its offer, citing growing complexities with executing the transaction. So now, here we are, looking at an independent future once more, a position we are entirely comfortable with. We had done all the preparation for the debt and equity package and were able to execute promptly following Albemarle's withdrawal. With funding locked in, we are in a position to complete the construction of the Kathleen Valley project. While dealing with the interest in our company at a corporate level, I'm proud to say that we did not take our eye off the ball at Kathleen Valley. It is a huge credit to Tony and his team that this project remains on schedule for first production mid-next year. Recently, we have seen a fall in the lithium prices. In our view, markets appear heavily focused on short-term price weakness linked with a Chinese destocking cycle. During the year 2023, the price of spodumene concentrate averaged a healthy $6,482 US per tonne. It finished the period at a 12-month low of $3,750 a tonne. Since then, it has fallen further to around $1,590 a tonne. With an expected 10-year average C1 cash cost at Kathleen Valley of 651 Australian dollars per tonne, or roughly $475 per tonne, it still provides a healthy margin. What we all got to remember is that the lithium market is in its early stages. Short-term price fluctuations are inevitable and can be influenced by multiple factors. Battery storage and electric vehicle demand is still robust, and they are the key drivers of the long-term lithium demand. The supply response from lithium producers and new entrants to market will take time. We can expect there will be a volatility throughout the cycle. Shorter-term investors may not remember the lithium price drop in 2019 due to a supply glut before rebounding to new highs. We are confident that the long-term lithium fundamentals remain strong, supported by the unrelenting global push towards electrification. I saw this firsthand on a trip to the United States in February. We visited the electric vehicle factories of our major customers, Tesla and Ford, and met with investors and US policymakers. They are all working to drive the massive expansion of global battery supply chains. Alongside our commitment to bring Kathleen Valley into production is our commitment to ESG. During financial year 23, we established a Sustainability and Risk Committee at board level to oversee our risk management framework and sustainability practices. Chaired by Adrienne Parker, this committee bolsters the board's commitment to ensure that sustainability and risk are integrated into our strategy and business decisions. We are serious about developing natural resources responsibly. You cannot miss the size of the 95 megawatt solar wind battery and gas hybrid power station we are building at Kathleen Valley. Looking inwardly, in 2022, we set a target of 30% female representation on our board by June 2024. I'm pleased to report that with the appointment of Adrienne Parker to our board in October last year, we are now at 29%. During the last financial year, our workforce grew by 273%, and we have achieved 31% female representation. This is pretty good for our industry and our stage of growth. We know there is room for improvement and have initiatives in place. Our gender diversity plan will ensure that there is equal opportunity for all as we grow. There's a lot of interest in working for Liontown, and we are attracting a high-calibre, diverse team. In preparing for startup at Kathleen Valley, a lot of work has gone into developing the systems and procedures. We will be operationally ready for production. I'm confident the team is on schedule and tracking well as we transition from construction through to production in the year ahead. In closing, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Jawal native title holders and the Leinster and Geraldton greater communities. We are very grateful for their support and for working with us to keep on schedule. I'm also indebted to my fellow directors. It has been a remarkably demanding year for our company. Their unwavering support and invaluable guidance have navigated us through challenges with wisdom, fortitude, and collective commitment to act in the best interests of all our shareholders. This brings me to an announcement that we made earlier today about upcoming changes to our board. After nearly 10 years, Anthony Cipriano has decided to step down from the board at the end of December. When Anthony joined us in 2014, he arrived with a reputation as a distinguished and impressive leader in all aspects of corporate transactions on both a national and international level. As a small outfit back then, we were lucky to get him. He leaves us with all the acclaim he deserves for the leadership, expertise and guidance he has provided to Liontown that has helped us on our way to becoming a world-class battery materials producer. During the last 10 years, I've not only appreciated Anthony's counsel, but he has also become a good friend. Thank you, Anthony. It's been great. So, and thank you, shareholders. And I wish him all the very best in his retirement from Liontown. But can you get MI6 going, Anthony? So anyway, well done, Anthony. It's been great. We also announced today that Ian Wells will join us effective 1st of March, January 2024. January, well done, 2024. Mr. Wells is a highly respected and very experienced leader with extensive experience in various finance functions and industries, including bulk mining, port, rail and energy infrastructure. He is a great addition to the board as we complete construction of Kathleen Valley and transition into operations. On behalf of the board, I also thank the executive team and all our employees, contractors and advisors for their efforts in navigating the challenges that have been thrown at us during the year and for keeping up the construction momentum at Kathleen Valley. I also reserve a very special debt of gratitude to all our 32,000 Liontown shareholders. We are privileged to have such an engaged and supportive shareholder base. For me, the most rewarding part of Liontown's success over the recent years has been sharing our successes with you. I am committed to the company as ever. I hope you will continue the journey with us as we head into production next year and beyond. Thank you. So I'll now hand you over to Tony, who will give you a presentation, and feel free to ask questions after Tony's presentation of Tony and myself. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Are we putting these down? No? Thank you, Tim. Appreciate the kind words. And thank you, shareholders. Some of you have travelled far and wide to come today, and I really appreciate that. Again, it demonstrates the commitment that Tim has spoken about. Before I start the presentation, I do want to start on a fairly sombre point. This year, on September 28, we unfortunately lost Alan Walsh. He was a key member of one of our contractors, Jagcor, and he unexpectedly passed away on site from a non-work related incident. Our first responders on site did everything possible over a number of days to care for Alan, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. Rest assured that Liontown will support Alan's family, Alan's team members, Alan's employer, and we have done that and will continue to do that. So moving on, I do want to start by saying that it has been a tremendous year for us on various fronts, and I thank my leadership team who have been with me along the way, shoulder to shoulder, on what has been a fairly transformative year across a number of fronts. But just an overview of this project, this company that we're building. I cannot stress the importance of this quality asset in Kathleen Valley, in a jurisdiction that is attractive across the planet. We have customers in the room today that have come along. They understand the quality of product, the strategic benefit of this product, the multi-decade scale of this product and this asset for its benefit for the shareholders and also its customers. We have a clear strategy, which I'll outline today, with upside as we move into what we believe is value maximising in downstream, and we'll have more to say on that in the coming year. ESG is core to our DNA, but it's not just about the hybrid power station. The ESG element goes across a number of fronts, and I cannot be more proud than the work that we're doing with Joel, and I'll touch on that a little bit further. As Tim mentioned, there has been a short-term reset in the price, but the fundamentals are still strong, and I'll elaborate that further in our presentation. And finally, you have a very committed leadership and board. Our interests are completely aligned with yours in this room and beyond. The strategy stays the same, it's consistent, and we need to execute accordingly. And it's about, initially, the first horizon is to bring Kathleen Valley to its full potential. Get it up and running, develop it to 3 million tonnes, then expand it to 4 and beyond. The second element is the downstream processing. We're working with Sumitomo, one of our partners, but beyond Sumitomo as well, in order to understand the benefit that downstream processing does to value. And finally, there's Liontown to its full potential. We're more than just a single asset company. We do have Baldania, and we're working towards understanding the value proposition that Baldania. The market backdrop, but I do want to show this picture. It's the ROM pad, and you can see from the ROM pad we're starting to stockpile material from the open cut. And we've got the sheeting that will form the basis of the ROM pad so that we don't get contamination. It's all about clean ore to the mill and to the process plant. But you can see the Skyway, which is this road right in front of us, and we're starting to stockpile very high-grade material, which myself and Shane McClay, one of my directors, went to site last Friday and saw firsthand. When we were putting together this slide, I was thinking through the messaging. And what we see is, we see the share price and how it's moved over since the last AGM, but equally, we've seen the movement in the lithium price. From November last year to today, the lithium price has dropped 80%. But if you remove the corporate activity that we've experienced in our share price has stayed stable. And it stayed stable because of what we've been able to deliver and what we've been able to control, and that is the work on the ground. As a board, as a management team, one of our purposes is to move uncertainty into certainty. And we do that through de-risking, through innovating, and through being agile. And I want to give the shareholders a bit of an anecdote. One of our key contractors who did a piece of work for us, they did all the roads on site and finished that work and left site and now moved on to other projects. The general manager of operations called our project development GM, Kirit Johan, many months after they left and said he was staggered in all his years that he's worked in the construction industry to see a site deliver so much in such little time was staggering. He didn't have to do that. And an old boss used to say to me, self-praise is no praise at all, but I'm pretty proud of that. So notwithstanding the reset in the price, the long-term fundamentals are very strong. And I can show you from this graph. If you look at the dotted box, that's what these particular analysts, Mindspan, believe is the high case. So if we deliver the high case in supply, it meets the demand. But if we don't achieve the high case and we only get the base case, which is that 2,094, there is a deficit. And I'll get to that in a minute, because let's look at supply. Everyone looks at the long term, the next 10 years, but let's break it down into the next 3 years, which is what we've done. To meet demand, to meet that base case, 42 projects need to come on in the next 3 years across the globe. But the globe, not every project in every jurisdiction is created equal. Some projects, like ours, are RRA compliant, which means they come with a strategic benefit. So our material is sought after. Where 60% of the production that's going to come on from those 42 projects are non-FTA compliant. When I published our DFS in November 2021, there were a range of projects that were going to come on at the same time. AVZ, James Bay, Lake Resources, Covalent, all those projects. The only one that's delivering to 2024 is Covalent, but ourselves. Supply is harder to bring on than people anticipate. We know it, we're living it. I briefly touched on the importance of IRA compliance. We visited Washington in February, and the feeling around Washington's even stronger now. People talk about a change of regime as they move from Democrat to Republican, if that is indeed the case. But we believe this resolve around creating an ex-China supply chain will only increase. And we're seeing that through the customer approaches we're getting on downstream. This issue is alive and in front of mind on our customers. Our year in review. It's hard to imagine 12 and a bit months ago, this was scrub. There was nothing there. We just started clearing, where Brett Lewis, the chairman of Joal, started clearing the first land, to where we are today. And again, it brings you to my earlier point around the intensity of the work. It's quite far-ranging. There's many milestones that we've made along the way. And I'm pretty proud of this. The SAG mill, for example, is typically the critical path, but because we ordered it back in January 2022, it's arrived on site and that piece of the project is complete and ready for commissioning. There are a number of highlights, as I've alluded to already, as part of the year. But again, I want to draw your attention to creating social and economic value. 5 Joal businesses have been contracted so far as we build in order to help us. As I mentioned, Brett Lewis, the chair of Joal, his contracting business did the first clearing, but many others. Our telecommunications, our 5G tower is a Joal business providing us that service. And we continue to partner with Joal, but also our partners in contractors are partnering with Joal. Burncut, for example, will set up a training regime with Joal in order to give them the skills of underground mining. Tim mentioned our funding. We are funded to first production and beyond. And again, self-praise is no praise at all, but when we got the call on Sunday night from Albemarle telling us they were withdrawing from their bid and their proposal, we raised $1 billion in 4 days. The moral of the story for me is the deal's not done till it's done, and always have your plan B. To be able to pivot and then back onto the banks, finish the banking discussions, and then raise the capital all in 4 days is a testament to this team at the front row here, but also the board and the rest of the Liontown team. Kathleen Valley to its full potential. More than 60% complete on an earned basis. Approximately 90% of the capital is committed. The 10% is basically incidentals. All major mining and construction contractors are now awarded, and we've got tier 1 partners working on site at the moment, from Burncart right through to Monadelphous doing the major construction. And we've provided the market an update on our revised capital cost of 951. Just now breaking it down into the various areas, we have our mining front. As you can see there, we've got Kathleen's Corner and Mount Mann, and I'm proud to say that as of a few weeks ago, we've started sinking the declines. Our jumbo productivity is about 270 metres per jumbo per month. So by the end of the year, we're going to be about 250 metres underground. So we're well and truly going to bust that myth about you can't mine lithium underground. The other bit is the tailings dam. It is fully lined. This is not norm. This is not market. We've fully lined this because we want to conserve water, recycle as much water as we can, and to ensure there is no seepage. Again, these are the sorts of things that we've done, that extra piece to put us and differentiate us against others. And you can see more of the plant. A lot of the steelwork was fabricated in China and exported out. We're getting a final load of Chinese steelwork coming through in the first week of December. The flotation circuit is in. It's all mezzo gear, from the primary crusher right through to the thickeners and beyond. So we are truly a mezzo site, and we go to see our representative there and shareholder. And commissioning will start. We've got a commissioning manager already on site, and we're starting to build that momentum, because the first area that's going to start commissioning is the primary and secondary crushing and screening circuit, which you see in the photo above. Our renewable farm, I was up there on Friday. It is amazing. Those wind turbines coming in, the sheer scale, these will be one of the largest inland turbines in Australia. They're about 6 megawatts each. They're 212 metres high. And to lay that footing for that turbine, this thing over here, it took a 27-hour continuous pour of concrete, 80 tonnes of steel, 800 cubic metres of concrete, and 100 individual truck trips across the Great Goldfields Highway. And this was executed flawlessly by the team and our partner Zenith. Quite an achievement. And you can see the camp. It's well and truly established now, the Dragonfly. And I haven't had the pleasure to stay overnight there, but the food is sensational, as I get told. And it's important. There's 3 key ingredients to life on camp: good food, good Wi-Fi, and a good mattress and pillow. Forget about the swimming pool and the 3D golf and the kitchens, the cooking. It's those 3 things. Tim still shakes his head. He keeps telling me about the stories of when he was a driller. It was a swag. Okay, the downstream. As I mentioned, the first question we have to ask ourselves is, as a miner, do I want to participate in downstream? I think I've mentioned in other AGMs, the conventional theory and wisdom from many miners is you always stop at the point of first saleable product. That's where the margin should accrue. So technically, we should stop and only be a spodumene producer. But is the lithium market different? Can we capture refinery margin and hold that margin through the cycles? So we've got a natural hedge. We're answering that question, and if that question is yes, then there's a whole range of new questions we have to ask ourselves. Where do we locate it? What product do we produce, and who do we partner with? And there are many governments around the world offering huge incentives. One of the reasons we're partnering with Sumitomo and their connection to the Japanese government is because Japanese government is going to offer 50% capital rebate. If we spend $700 million US on a downstream processing plant in Japan, they'll write us a cheque back for $350 million. There is big incentives. And believe it or not, here in WA, whilst I want to build it here, getting land for a 95 hectare downstream processing plant doesn't fall off the back of a truck, believe it or not. Finally, Liontown to its full potential. I've mentioned before, you don't build a project and ipso facto you get a company. There is infrastructure, systems and processes, I can bore you for hours on all of this, that is crucial to building an ASX 100 company. Given the requirements today imposed on companies, what you can't measure, you can't control, and we've got to control everything. So we've got a team, one of my team is, their focus is primarily on building that infrastructure so that I can, if I go to an analyst presentation, I haven't got my phone here, I can just push a button on my phone and I get all my capital costs, whatever area is spending, where the savings are, and I can talk in an informed basis with the investment community. And we want that when we move into production, so everyone can see information in real time and we can impact change. We've got about 230 odd on site collectively. I mean, that started from 6 people 2.5 years ago and a small bar fridge. We've now got, and a toaster. We've now got very highly capable people. And I spoke to the Burn Cup people on Friday, and they're telling me that their own people within their many operations are signing up wanting to transfer from where they are now to this project. That's how much excitement there is around what we're trying to do here. Finally, Baldania. We're looking at Baldania, we're looking at it on a number of fronts. Baldania is crucial because we need to understand what we've got. We've done some drilling, but most of the time people do the drilling but don't understand the mineralogy. You've got to do both. Before I'm going to spend any more money on more drilling, we need to understand, is this material processable? Is it a DMS flow sheet? Is it a DMS and float sheet? Is it a float sheet with ore sorting? All these questions have to be answered once we have a better understanding of the mineralogy. That's the test work we're doing at the moment, and we're progressing that, and we've got a scoping study going as well. So we can understand potentially the value proposition on this deposit. And you can see it's in an area that's sought after by many players, and one fairly prominent one. The year ahead, this is where the hard work begins, believe it or not. As we move into the first half of the year and we finish construction and then we start commissioning, followed by the ramp up. This is where it all comes together. I hope and I'm confident we're standing here next year and we would have shipped not our first cargo, but a few cargoes of product to our customers. We've talked about the operational readiness, progressing the downstream strategy, and finally our final decarbonisation pathway, which we're working on as well. Okay, there's a short video here which sums it up.
From day one, Liontown has never been about just building a project. It's been about building a world-class company.
It is clear that there is a lot of interest and a lot of excitement about working for Liontown.
from the start, we're investing in people to make sure that they're trained and able to work through all areas of the plant, and this will give us a head start for commissioning when everyone's on site 6 months ahead of time.
We're exactly where we said we would be and on track to deliver on the schedules that we've committed to.
We'll be ready for commissioning in the new year, and I'm really looking forward to taking the team to start production in mid-2024.
That's 12 months' work.